Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talk About, your usually weekly news show where I gather the top headlines of gaming from the past week and break them down with you. But as you can see, well, this is earlier than these videos usually come out in between each other. That's because of the chaotic nature of all of these games releasing. In case you didn't watch last episode, I almost said last week. It was just the last episode. Yeah, because of just the amount of games that are coming out within these next month, 2 months period, I'm just going to be a lot more sporadic with talk about for the time being because, yeah, there's just a lot going on and a lot of content that I want to make about all of these games. But of course, if I did week by week, I wouldn't be able to really get enough time out of each game. You know what I mean? And also, the news is taking a back seat. There's been a lot of news to be completely honest with everyone. There's a lot of news out there, but I don't even know how I would approach that. I'm talking about the Xbox leaks. I don't know how to approach that because there's a lot there that I just ooh. Yeah, you'll be best served looking for other people to talk about that because man, that's just I am way too much there to talk about that I can't really get to because it's just too much for little old me. But if you watched last episode, you know I talked about Starfield for a record time, 40 minutes ish. And then, of course, there was a really weird exporting issue where there was a black screen at the end, but don't worry about it. But yeah, if you saw that, you'll know that I talked about Starfield on a very surface level sort of way, even though I went on for the longest I've ever gone on anything. It was very surface level. I didn't get to any story spoilers, any faction spoilers, or any particulars, things like that, because I know it's a big game and not everyone will have experienced those things, but I am still wanting to talk about this gosh darn video game. So that's what this video is going to be. Of course, I still have yet to finish the main story, so I won't be able to spoil the end of the game, but I will lead into a point. But yeah, for this episode of Talk About, rather, we are going to talk more in depth about my experiences with these stories, whether they're the faction story or my progress so far with the main story. Because, yeah, I want to talk about that very much. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, Alex, if you haven't finished the main quest yet and you only have finished half of the faction quests, why make this video right now? And why not wait until you've finished everything? Because who knows when that could be. I'll be honest with you, okay? At the pace I'm taking this game, the way I'm getting distracted by every single thing, that could be another 2 weeks from now. Who knows, honestly. I got so sidetracked last night, I was like, okay, we're going to get in here, we're going to finish another faction quest line, and then I just got sidetracked for like 3 hours straight of just outposting. But yeah, in terms of spoilers, of course, we are going to go. I will completely spoil the UC Navy quest line and completely spoil the Freestar Rangers quest line because I have finished those. And when it comes to the main quest, I am up to the point in the main quest I'm at is where I meet these two characters, and one of them says, "Hey, go check out Earth." If you know what that is, you know what that is. That's where I currently am in the story. So if you have passed that moment, then this is a fun time for you. You can hang out, listen to my thoughts on the main quest so far. But if you haven't passed that moment, if that sounds completely obscure to you, then run now. But let's talk about the main quest because it's the biggest thing to get out in front. All right, okay. Where do I start with this spoiler version of this main quest? Let's just start with the fact that this game turns out to be a multiverse game. I did not expect that whatsoever. That came completely out of left field. And okay, okay, let me back it up again. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back it up. It's crazy that it's a multiverse story. We'll get to it in a second. Let's back it up to the first spoiler-y part of the game. And that's where you go up to the Eye and meet Vladimir, and he tells you, go check out this temple. And you check out the temple, and then suddenly you have powers. I completely forgot about that little tease at the end of the Starfield Direct where they're like, look at this anti-gravity thing that the character is seemingly doing. I completely forgot about that aspect. So when also it took me like 12, 15 hours. It took me a long time to retrieve the first power in the game because I was just, playing at my own pace. And then I was like, I can't believe that I have just completely missed this whole extra feature to the game that I just completely bypassed for the longest time. And I was like, that's crazy. And then, of course, as you know, Vladimir will then be like, go ahead and find out all of these temples. There's a bunch of powers out there you can go find if you want to. And then I just did that for a couple hours straight. Lots of cool powers. But then about these powers, I don't honestly find myself using them. I more often than not forget I have them. Because they don't really do much, I'll be honest. And there's this one power, a solar flare, where you essentially shoot like a fireball. And I was like, ooh, if I put that on, I can play this game like Mass Effect. And it'd be like I was a biotic. But it's very, very weak, not very strong at all. So I kind of let the powers fall to the wayside. But yeah, now that we have the whole powers things out of the way, it is when you get a specific artifact. I don't remember. It was a specific one. I don't remember entirely. But when you are intercepted by a ship when you're leaving, I believe it's when you leave Neon after you get the artifact with Walter, I want to say. It's been a while because I'm like 69 hours, over 69 hours into this game. Nice. And yeah, it has been a while. But I'm pretty sure it's the one right after the one you get with Walter, where you are intercepted by a pretty crazy looking spaceship, and it is helmed by a person called the Hunter. And this is where the game blew my friggin' mind. Okay, when I was confronted by the Hunter. You know why? You know why this blew my mind? Earlier in the game, like 10, 15 hours ago, I was just roaming New Atlantis. I don't know if anyone else out there has seen this. I don't have any video evidence because I was just playing the game. I didn't record everything I did. But pretty early on in the game, I was just walking around, checking out all of the shops. I was trying to familiarize myself with New Atlantis because, of course, a whole big hubbubaloo about Starfield. No, there's no local map, so you really have to, like visualize every place in your mind and figure it out on your own. Which, to each their own. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm indifferent because I don't often use the local map in any Bethesda game, anyways. I just remember where everything is, and that's what I did in Starfield. But anyways. I was just walking around. I went into the bar, the spaceport bar in New Atlantis, just checking out the people in there. And then in the corner, just leaning against the wall, was this dude in the coolest suit of armor I've ever seen. And guess what his name was? It's the Hunter. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Well, I couldn't believe. Well, I mean, I could believe that the Hunter was there at the spaceport. I couldn't believe it when he came back later into the game. So for those who didn't, I don't know if everyone had this interaction or if it's just a common thing people are having. I don't know. But I just ran into the Hunter at the spaceport bar in New Atlantis. And then I talked to him because he had a super cool suit of armor. I was like, hey, what's your story, dude? And then he was all like, well, people never really come up to me. And I was like, yeah, that suit of armor is probably intimidating them. And then he goes, yeah, that was kind of the point. And I was like, wow, he's a really cool guy. I want to recruit him on my ship is what I was thinking at the time. It wasn't possible because I recruited someone else on my ship from that bar. Anyways, irrelevant. But we'll actually get to that later. But yeah, the Hunter was just in the bar, and he was like, "Wow, maybe I'll see you again someday." And I was like, "That's just a cool guy right there." I don't know what his side story is what I was thinking at the time, but I hope I do see him again. And then I did. 30 hours later or something, and he was trying to kill me, and I couldn't believe it. I don't think there was any interaction with him where he's like, hey, remember me? It would be really cool, though, if there was. Maybe there was, and I don't remember. But I couldn't believe that. That was the first moment. The first moment where the game story, just twisted on me, and it's really, I was leaning in, like I was very intrigued. Very good time. Very good time. Of course, the Hunter, who I thought was just super cool guy, he did end up, we'll get to that in a second. And the crazy thing is clearly the hunter, very big deal going forward in this video game story, right? When I saw him in the bar, I was like, what if I just killed him right now? Because he is the sickest suit of armor I've ever seen in this game. This was also so early in the game where my current spacesuit just looked stupid and dumb and I hated it. And I was like, this guy's spacesuit, way cooler than mine. I'm going to kill him and take his. I didn't because I'm a good person. I try to be at least. But imagine if I did. What would have happened? I'm so curious to know what would have happened if I just try. Like, of course, he is a key character in the story, so I don't know how that would have handled it if I shot him dead right then and there. But it would have been. I very much would like to know now. So if you did have this encounter with him in the bar and you maybe shot him, let me know. Let me know how that went for you. But yeah, the hunter, the guy who I just thought was a really cool dude, who has a really sick suit of armor, and I would hope I'd see him again someday. I did. And he also killed my friend. It was a really sad time. Really sad time. Because if you're watching this, you are familiar with the story. You just collected all of the artifacts, right? You put them in on the constellation thingamajigger, and then they're like, at this point as well, half of constellation is on the space station outside of Jemison, the Eye, of course. You're familiar. You know. I hope you do. Half of not New Atlantis. Half of constellation's up there, and the other half are down in the lodge. And this is an interesting point in the story. How do I want to approach this? Okay, so you're familiar with it. If you're here, you're familiar with it. You have the option to go up to the Eye and help everyone up there, or stay in the lodge and help everyone defend the artifacts down in the lodge, right? And it has occurred to me since then that everyone who is currently in the Eye at that point in the quest line is a companion that you can take with you, and Vlad, of course. And also Vlad is there. Because Andreja, Sarah Morgan, and Sam Coe are the 3 Constellation members that are up there, and they're all companions. Whereas down in the lodge, it's Walter, Mateo, Noel, and, well, I guess Vasco as well, and Barrett. Vasco's a robot, though. I don't know if you want to count him. He doesn't have a soul, so, you know. And Barrett, right? So, with that in mind, most of your companions are up there. So you want to go up there, right? You're going to want to go up there. But I feel like the game pushes you, urges you. It wants you to stay in the lodge in this moment. And I wish I did, because I feel like it would have been better from a storytelling perspective. Because this is what happens. I'll break it down for you. I'll break it down for you if you've only just went straight through it, didn't give it much thought. If you go up to the Eye, everyone's safe. Everyone's fine. You get the call where Vlad's like, hey, we just got attacked. There's so much blood. Someone's about to die up here. That's why you're like urged. That's why you have that sense of urgency to go to the Eye. And then, of course, you're told that the hunter is going to come down to the lodge, steal the artifacts, which is why you're conflicted on whether to stay or go up to the Eye. I hope I'm doing a good job at explaining this. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Let me know. The conflict is that people are bleeding out at the Eye, and in the lodge is about to get attacked. So that's the conflict, the inner conflict that you have to deal with. So I initially straight up went, Sarah Morgan, okay, of course, if you watched the last video, Sarah Morgan, love of my life. Sarah Morgan is up in the Eye. I'm going to that Eye. And then as soon as you go towards the door in the lodge, Barrett will be like, hey, if you're going, I'm going to lock that door behind you and we're screwed. Okay. And I was like, and then you can ask him, do you think I'm making the wrong choice? And he says, yes, you should stay here and help us defend the artifacts, which makes a lot of sense. And in any story you've ever seen, that's what any character would do, I feel. So you are definitely like pushed into thinking, I need to stay on the lodge. Because if you stay on the lodge, you escape. You escape the lodge, of course, safely, because you're shooting your way out. The hunter's coming at you. It's very intense, honestly. Because the hunter is already there. He's already there. If you walk out that door, Walter is like, help me. Because the hunter's got him in a chokehold and he's cloaked. And he's like, he's already there. By the time you're about to leave, he's already there. There's that second, or there even more reason for you to stay because you are immediately hit with the fact that, oh, Walter needs help in the lodge and you're leaving the lodge, but there's stuff to do here and Barrett is telling you should stay, and there's like a, are you sure you want to leave the lodge sort of screen, and all of that is because, yeah, that feels like the most natural way to tell the story, this story, because when you go up to the eye after fending off the hunter and defending the artifact pieces, you go up to the eye and it depending on whoever you are closest with, turns out, depending on which of the three companions that are up in the eye you're closest with, they will be up there dead. The way I learned this is because I initially went to the eye, because of course Sarah Morgan loved my life, gotta go save her. Then I came back down and Barrett died down in the lodge because I went to the eye. And then I saw that, I was like, ooh, no. Oh, no, not Barrett. I love Barrett. Barrett's a funny guy. He's, I liked him a lot. He was pretty funny. I liked his personality. He's very charismatic. I don't like this, that I did this. I'm going to go back and reload my save and stay on the lodge. And then I did that, and I went up to the eye. Sarah Morgan, love of my life, was dead. And I was like, nope, not doing this. Yeah, I save scummed. What are you going to do about it? Big deal. I mean, to be fair, I didn't save scum. I just checked out the alternative choice because I did revert back to my first choice of going up there to save my life, to save the love of my life, Sarah Morgan. So technically, no save scumming. I was just peeking into the other choice, the other universe where I made that choice, if you will. But yeah, it was crazy, right? Am I right? And then I heard from other people's like talking about that segment in the game that it could be Andreja dead. It could be Sam Code dead. It just depends on whichever companion you're closest with. And that makes for a really cool story beat for the, if you're anything like me or most gamers, it's probably the love of your life who's dying, whether it's Andreja, Sarah Morgan, or Sam Code, depending on, whoever you wanted to, But anyways, it makes for a more interesting and compelling narrative if the love of your life dies in this universe, because we are presented later with the fact that, yeah, this game is a multiverse game. And they keep talking about this Unity thing, and with all of the talk about New Game Plus being this crazy thing that Bethesda has done, it's not hard to put two and two together that the New Game Plus is stepping into a new universe. So if you have if the love of your life is dead in this universe, it makes much more compelling sense to leave this universe to go find one where the love of your life is alive, like all the villains do in all these multiverse movies, like Kingpin or Wanda. Go do that. Nothing bad will happen with that. That's what I feel like the narrative pushes you towards. But now, because I chose to save Sarah and she's just alive with me in this universe, when I get to that point in the game where it's like, do you want to step into this new universe and do New Game Plus? I'm probably gonna say no. I don't know for certain if that is the case, of course, because I'm not there yet, but it definitely feels like that's what they're pushing me towards. And if Sarah Morgan was dead in this universe, I would absolutely step into a new world and do that. But she's alive. She's the love of my life. And you know how often she just comes to me and says, oh my God, I'll never find anyone like you ever again. I'll never love anyone as much as I love you. And I'm like, man, this is a good game. This is a good video game. When she says that to me, it makes me feel good. But yeah. She says all that stuff, and it's just like, I feel like if I left this universe, I would be abandoning her. Unless there's an option to bring her with me, I don't see myself doing New Game Plus. And I feel like that's going to be a common thread for a number of people. If they, feel anything like I feel. But, yeah. I won't know for certain until I get there, of course. But, yeah. That's all I can really say about the main quest so far. Of course, the hunter and the emissary, that's a weird thing. The emissary is the takes the form of whoever died in your game. So my emissary is Barrett, which, was neat. And then the hunter is that priest guy you met like 10 minutes before. That was kind of underwhelming. It would have been really cool if he was like literally anyone else. Because I thought it was Walter at first because it's just an old man face, and Walter is the only old man face that I feel like is recognizable. Like, I mean, clearly not recognizable because I know it wasn't him. It's the only old man that has any importance to the story, I thought. So I thought it was Walter, but he's like, no, it's me, the old priest. You know me as the priest. I'm like, I don't really know you that well, though, so... Anyways, that's all I have to say about the main quest line. It's really good, and I am a big fan of how it's handling the multiverse question, how it's cool. It's cool. It's not really handling the multiverse in any sort of way, but I like that it is multiversal because it was a curveball I did not see coming, and it's pretty cool. But yeah. Let's talk about, now we got the main quest out of the way, let's talk about the Free Star Rangers, a faction quest that I have fully completed, so if you have not fully completed it, this is your cue to leave. So, because I'm going to spoil the whole thing. The Free Star Rangers was pretty enjoyable. It was the first faction quest line I did, and it was fine. Nothing extraordinary. It seemed a lot smaller scale than I expected it to be. I don't know why I thought it would be bigger. We're just helping out some farmers at the end of the day. It kind of expanded into a like corporate, governmental sort of, what's it called? Corporate? No, not corporate. Government. Corrupt government. That's what it is. A little corrupt government type of thing. With the culmination of it being that Ron Hope part on Hopeville. What's the planet called? Hope County? Hopetown. I was close. I was really close. I think it's called Hopetown. Yeah. That was an interesting thing. Like, of course, the entire lead up to it was fine. I feel like it wasn't fleshed out enough. I'll say that. Because the faction quest line has you go around the Freestar Collective space. Yeah. Wow, I nailed that. And sort of just meet all of the Rangers throughout the faction's territory, the Freestar territories. And they don't have much to them. It'd be really neat if they were all, full-on companions, I think, and flesh them out in that way, because a lot of them are pretty cool. And Autumn, I think, I don't remember, because it was only one mission. That's another thing. You only spend one mission with each of these Rangers, so it's not like you feel like a community of Rangers or anything. It's just, hey, I'm just checking in. How's it going? You have a problem? Okay, I'll solve that problem for you. All right. And then you get a little bit closer to the overall goal. Not that great. It was fine. It was fine. But at the end, of course, the Ron Hope confrontation was pretty cool. I'll give you that. I did have the slight problem where I had my Ryujin Industries questline lined up where I had to go to Hope Tech and install a bug or something. And then I was confronting Ron Hope, so they did dock my pay because I killed Ron Hope. And I was like, oh, my bad, guys. Oh, yeah, I killed Ron Hope, by the way. I don't think you can not kill him. You can only side with him or kill him, I believe. Because I was talking him down as best as I possibly could. And he wasn't having any of it. He's like, I will kill you if I have to. And I was like, all right, I'll defend myself. And defend myself I did. And Ron Hope is dead. And someone else will take his place. And it's an interesting dilemma where, like, they bring up the fact that Ron Hope to his employees, is like this figure, this central figure of the community. And he makes all the jobs for his community and really cares about his community, but not really anyone else. He's just big into Hopetown and only cares about Hopetown or whatever it's called. I think it's Hopetown. I think so. But it will step on all the smaller people to build up his own business and his own people, his own employees, anyone who works for him. Supposedly. I still think he's, scummy little CEO guy. I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe he's going to put his employees first. I feel like he's just going to line his pockets more, you know what I mean? So I had to put him down. And it was in it, yeah. But yeah, that was the dilemma where they present you with those facts, and it's like, are you sure you want to kill him? You sure you want to put him down? And I still did. They'll figure it out. Sarah Morgan approved. That's another thing, actually. Companion dialogue. I didn't even mention this in the last part. But yeah, sometimes your companions will be a part of the conversation, which I absolutely love. Because before, they're just, like in any other Bethesda game, they're just standing there lifeless, observing everything. But Sarah Morgan has often interjected and been like, "Oh, really? You think that? You think that?" Because she's British, or something like that. It's like anytime a Sarah Morgan like that appears, she will say something, or like if she hates something, she'll definitely let me know about it, and then I reload my save and be like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings like that." But anyways, I think it's really cool, and sometimes on the rare occasion, I don't think it happens enough that your one of your dialogue options will be your companion speaking. And that's really cool, but it only happens like 5 times so far in my 60, 70 hour playthrough. I guess I'm probably closer to 80 now at this point. But yeah, it's weird that it's there because it's not there frequently. It's hardly ever there. I wish it was there more because, they had the idea. Why not flesh it out more? But yeah, it's really cool. Because also, I'm not going to go into much spoilers for the Crimson Fleet because I'm not done with it. I'm only about, I don't know, maybe halfway through it. I don't know where I am. But it's very cool the way you can be a good guy and be a pirate, because the quest line, if you want to have good karma, is that you are going undercover as a pirate to expose them and root them out. And I like that. And Sarah Morgan is very much aware of the fact that I'm doing this undercover, being a pirate undercover. So she's along for the ride, because I was really worried that I'd have to like leave her behind because Crimson Fleet, bad guys. And I was like, she's not going to be down for that. She's going to be very upset with me for joining them. But no, she gets it. And it's a lot of fun to watch her also like be undercover and, be piratey a little bit to, keep ourselves undercover. And it's a fun time. Really enjoy it. Sarah Morgan's the love of my life. I love her so much. I wish she was real. Anyways, but to circle back to the Freestar Rangers ending with the Ron Hope figure character, this does bring up another problem I did have with the game, where you can hire crew around town, or circling back again around to the bar where I found the hunter the first time. In that bar, I hired America something. I don't know her last name. She's like this French woman or Russian woman. I don't know, honestly. Who kind of looks like Zoe Deschanel, if we're being completely honest. I hired her onto my crew, and then, I learned all I could about her. You can have her on your ship. You can have her on your outposts. You can have her as a companion. But they are more in line with past Bethesda companions, where they are not much of a character themselves. They will tell you their backstory, and that's it. Because America specifically talks about how she's from Hopetown and all of that jazz. Like, she was raised there, she worked there, or her parents worked there. I'm a little foggy on the details, but she has a history with Hopetown, and she thinks that Ron Hope is a fraud. So I thought that after I killed Ron Hope, I could have like a new dialogue interaction with her after that. There was no new dialogue. That was a little bit of a bummer. I was like, really? So these guys they just are what they are. There's no extra layers to them. That's a bit of a bummer. Because, yeah, even when I hired her the first time, and then Sarah Morgan was on the eye. Also, circle back again. In the last part, I mentioned there was a point where I was like, ooh, something's about to happen. I'm going to go do other things first so I don't rush through it. That was one of the points when it was like, oh, everyone's on the eye. I was like, oh, something's going to happen if you're forcefully putting everyone right here. So that's when I went out and explored. So I brought Marika with me as my companion, and I brought her over to Hopetown. And she didn't say anything. I was like, this is where you're from. You don't have any new dialogue for me here? That's a bit of a bummer. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But now let's move forward to the UC Navy quest line, because I did finish that one as well. So if you have not finished that one, run. But yeah, this is my favorite one so far. Of the two I finished, far and away the best one. Also, I didn't mention, but Freestar Rangers, new ship, really cool ship. Maybe I did mention it. I've been talking for a long time. And we're not going to worry about the time. We're just going to keep going, okay? We're just going to keep it going. Anyways, really cool ship. It's my new ship. Dope ship. So do the Freestar Rangers for the ship, if anything else. If nothing else, I mean. Do it for the ship. It's a really good ship. But UC Navy, that's what we're talking about now. My favorite one. Because you're dealing with the Terramorph epidemic throughout the colonies. Because it's like, where are these guys coming from? How is this happening? They're being weaponized? That sort of thing. It is awesome. It was really awesome. It's my favorite one. It's because of the ending. The ending is so strong. Because all the other stuff, it's your classic stuff, you know. Go in here, disable this, destroy this thing. All of that jazz. And then also learning about the Terramorphs, fighting all these Terramorphs. It's a really cool time. Terramorphs are cool. They're cool to fight because they're really scary and intimidating. And you fight a bunch of them. And there's so much XP you get from killing a Terramorph as well. It's awesome. Also, the really cool part about the UC Navy is that I feel like you should start here. This is where I feel like I should have said this earlier, way earlier, because a lot of people aren't going to make it this far in the video. But it's a good starting point because not only is it a cool and intriguing quest line, the beginning of the quest line are the introduction of the guy you talk to be recruited is in the main quest, Sarah Morgan's old pal. I don't remember his name. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I feel like it's a good starting point, a good place to start because, you know, you're introduced to him early and the beginning of that quest line walks you through like this museum type of experience that like catches you up on all of the history of Starfield, the history of the world of Starfield leading into where you are right now. So it really like helps bring you up to speed on all that lore if that's the sort of thing you're interested in. And it also talks a lot about this guy, Vae Victus, how he was this war criminal, did war crimes, you know, a lot of people died because it was like for the greater good sort of guy, you know, that kind of guy who is said to be, who was executed by the UC Navy after the war, the Colony War. I don't remember the name of the war. It was a big deal, but this guy has been executed, except throughout this quest line, of course, hopefully you've played it if you're listening, watching this part. Of course, you find out that he was not executed, and the UC Navy has been keeping him secret, holed up in a dark, deep, not a cave, a cell. Yeah, I guess a cell. They locked him up and it's sealed up tight. No one knows about it except like the council. Also, the council, how cool was that moment when you walk up to the council the first time and talk to them all? Felt very Mass Effect. It was very cool. I really like Mass Effect. Give me a new Mass Effect game. Please, soon, and make it good. But yeah, the whole Vae Victus segment of this quest line is what really elevated it for me, on top of everything else, of course. And one of the NPCs in this quest line is the technically daughter of Vae Victus. It's a clone. It's crazy. You're also introduced to clones in this quest line. How crazy is that? Didn't expect that. But yeah, essentially his daughter is in this quest line as well. And you're working with her to put an end to the Terramorph epidemic. Yeah. But we're just going to talk. We're going to rush to the end because there's a lot of other things that happen throughout it. But it's a lot of dealing with taking out the Terramorphs. But at the end of the quest line, it's what's his face? Vae Victus. He's all like, yeah. You find out he's behind it all. He caused this. Why did he do it? So that we could figure out how to put a stop to them, where they came from, and how to, you know, efficiently get rid of them. He sacrificed like the few colonies that were like attacked to raise suspicion, to raise concern about the Terramorphs. He orchestrated the whole thing so that we would take action to essentially put an end to it, which we did. And then he's all like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell everyone that I'm alive or blah, 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 and tell them I did it? Or are you just going to pin it on this guy that you killed earlier in this quest line? If you've played the quest line, you know what I'm talking about. It was a really cool moment where he's like, yeah. And the council members are all telling you, hey, make sure you don't tell anyone that Bay Victus is alive and we have him. That will ruin our relations with the Freestar Collective and the Varun, House Varun, because they think we killed him, but we're using him for like information and stuff. That sort of thing. Criminal mind thing. I think it's a Hannibal Lecter thing. I don't know the story with Hannibal Lecter. I think that's what this is like mirroring. I'm not certain though. But yeah, Victus is all like, so you're gonna tell the truth and say I did it, or you're gonna pin it on this one guy who's dead that you killed? And then you're really faced with a dilemma because ooh, man, oh man. Also, I need to back it up one more time. He's locked through this sealed door that will only open for you, and they say, hey, your companion has to wait out here. Only you are authorized to go down here. So you're always alone with him. So anything you say to him is a complete secret. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's my favorite moment in the game so far, honestly. That moment where he lays it all out on the table. Yeah, it was me. Pin it on the other guy. Because, you'll be a hero. Not because, otherwise it's like, oh, you were working with the guy who did it. That looks bad for you. And also my daughter, people will be like, that's crazy. Your dad did this. Then people like have a renewed hatred for her because her dad did something else terrible. It's a whole thing. So it's just like, do you want to tell people the truth or are you just gonna lie? And I was like, man, oh man, I guess I'm gonna lie. And that was such a crazy moment because you can leave that room with him and say, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna tell the council. And that's what I did. And I said that, but I knew what I was going to do. I was going to lie to the council because it was all for the greater good. And at the end of the day, he was right. And then you walk back out of his cell, down the hallway, open up the locked door. And then on the other side, I was just, on the entire walk out, I was just like, my head just couldn't process everything. I was just like, I don't know. This is the bad choice. I know it's bad, but I have to do it. And then I open up the locked door, the sealed door, and then Sarah Morgan's just on the other side. The good nature she is, the light of my life. And she has no idea that I'm about to lie to everyone. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And I lied to everyone. And we're heroes. It's great. And you also get a house at the end of the quest line. And it's a really cool house in New Atlantis. It's nice. But yeah, also at various points throughout the game, or throughout the quest line, you can come clean to Vay Victus's daughter and be like, hey, this guy, your dad, he's alive. And I didn't. But you could. And I'm just like, what would happen if you did that? It's like throughout multiple times, you have the option to just let people know he's alive and he did this. But I just didn't. So if you did that, let me know what you did. Let me know how that turned out for you. Because I couldn't do it. Because he was right. At the end of the day, he was right. Yeah, it was the best quest line. It was really good. They really, really did a good job with that one. It's my favorite one so far. And then, of course, I mentioned Crimson Fleet a little bit. And I also mentioned Ryujin a little bit. Ryujin is the worst one, I would say. It sucks. It's a lot of it's corporate espionage, but it's really just walking into a place, pressing activate on something and walking out. It's not much. There's no like laser wires you have to traverse. No, it's very straightforward. It's like where the Freestar Rangers is like bounty hunting, the UC Navy is like policing, Crimson Fleet is pirating, Ryujin Industries is supposed to be like your sneaking thief thing. But they didn't want it to be too heavy on the sneaking stuff because otherwise it might not be for everyone. So it just kind of feels like a middle ground. So I feel like it is not great. But what I will say about the whole Radiant quests Bethesda is known for, where it's like another settlement needs your help, that sort of thing, it definitely suits Starfield more than Fallout 4. Because bounty hunting makes so much sense for Radiant quest lines. or radiant quests rather. It's like, oh, you got to go hunt down this guy, because at the end of the UC Navy quest, once you've, I lied, all right, of course. So Vivictus is still downstairs running things, doing his thing, because also the council knows he's alive and knows that he helped, so they think that he's also like, good job, you did a good job. So, you know, he probably got like cookies that day or something. I don't know. He's still locked up, but he will give you quest line, or he'll give you radiant quests where you can like hunt down enemies of the UC Navy and the Freestar Rangers, of course, bounty hunting and all that jazz. So that's cool that they were able to find a good way to implement their radiant quests in a natural way. What's an unnatural way, though, is whenever you're discovering a new planet and then you go to a civilian outpost, every time someone is lost. They're always losing people at these outposts, and you just got to go find them. And that seems like the new another settlement needs your help. We lost one of our friends. Can you go help us find our friend? That sort of thing. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say in spoiler territory for this game so far. Of course, the next time, of course, I'm not done with the main story, and I'm not done with 2 more faction quests. I'm not done playing Starfield. So yeah, you better believe I'm going to come back with another Starfield video at some point, of course. Where the first one was surface level non-spoilery, this one's sort of spoilery. I mean, it's pretty spoilery. It's heavy spoilery. The next one will be my full completed thoughts, because at that point I will have completed the game. Once I complete the game, I'll have enough reason to come back and make a new video where I complete the main story, all the side quests, maybe do new game plus. But if it's what I imagine it to be, where I go to another universe and have to leave love of my life, Sarah Morgan behind, I mean, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I'll definitely, in that video, I'm definitely going to talk more about like how outposting has been late in the game, because last episode I mentioned how things like storage containers needed to be larger. I did upgrade my skills since then, and yeah, you can get larger containers, which help a lot. And I'm setting up all these cargo links. It's crazy. It's crazy. I want to spend more time with it before I have more things to say on it. But that'll be for the next episode. Not the next episode of TalkAbout. It'll be for a later episode of TalkAbout. But yeah, that was a lot. This one, I think, is longer than the last one. So shout out to me. I mean, it probably won't be, technically, because I'm going to make sure I don't have 6 minutes of black screen at the end of this one. So don't you worry about that. If you're worried about that, don't be. Okay? But yeah, that's all I have to say so far on Starfield. I'll be back with more Starfield, though, because, of course, this is a forever game. I'll be back with my completed thoughts. I'll be back with DLC thoughts. I'll be back with mod support thoughts. So many thoughts to have. Anyways, next episode of TalkAbout, though, I mean, if you're looking at the calendar, you know what games just came out, what games I'm probably very likely playing right now. I'll just let you know. I'm playing Mortal Kombat 1 and Lies of P at the moment, as well as more Starfield and some Baldur's Gate on the side. So one of those games is going to be the next episode of TalkAbout. So if you have anything to say on those games, leave a comment below and I'll read it on the next one. But yeah, if you made it this far, shout out to you. Type in of course, tell me about what you think about Mortal Kombat 1 and Lies of P or Baldur's Gate. But if you made it this far, let me know. Prove it by typing bottle cap. Yeah, bottle cap. Type in bottle cap in the comments if you made it this far, and I'll know you're a true pal. I don't know. Anyways, I still don't remember how I end these things, so forgive me for being rusty. Let me remember it. So those are my more spoilery thoughts on Starfield so far. How about you, though? What are your thoughts on Starfield in a sort of spoiler capacity, but, don't spoil everything because not everyone has, and I don't know what people have played. So just let me know what your experiences with Starfield are, honestly, or any of the other things I've said. Just leave a comment. It drives engagement. It helps me out. But until next time, stay safe and play some video games.